You're watching Signal of the Republic, where we tear through the spin, call out the lies, and speak for the Americans who've had enough. Hello, and welcome back to Signal of the Republic. Today, I came across an MSNBC headline screaming, "White House endorses Trump deployments in every Democrat-run city," with a subcaption claiming, "Donald Trump wants to deploy armed troops acting at his direction into every city in the United States run by members of the opposing party." I clicked expecting the usual spin from an MSNBC article, but what I got was unchallenged falsehoods and outright lies. So let's roll that clip now, and I'll pause in real time to debunk each narrative, call out every blatant lie, and lay out the facts they conveniently ignored.
I want to bring in now Democratic Congressman Jonathan Jackson of Illinois. Parts of your district are in Chicago. They include the South Side. So when you hear this live ball debate of will the National Guard be helpful, won't they be helpful, you've got some in your community saying, yeah, it would free up police. Why are they wrong in your estimation?
Well,
or are they?
Well, they are wrong. And it's what the general function of the Department of Defense, now that he's renamed the Department of War. He is now turning his head away from peace towards war. This is talking about putting the American troops on American soil against American citizens. This is unprecedented.
Stop right there. Donald Trump isn't rejecting peace. He's declaring a war on crime. The congressman claims Trump is sending American troops to police American citizens on American soil. But that's false. The National Guard soldiers were deployed in Washington, D.C., no weapons drawn on ordinary residents. In fact, Mayor Bowser publicly thanked them for helping get a handle on crime. And this isn't unprecedented. Historical examples range from Washington's Whiskey Rebellion to the LA riots after Rodney King. 1794 under Washington, 1861 under Lincoln, 1894 under Cleveland, 1957 under Eisenhower, 1963 under Kennedy, 1965 under Johnson, and 1992 under George H.W. Bush. Now let's return to the clip and see what other falsehoods the congressman has to say.
No, we don't need him to send in military troops. We do need him to send in the resources. He's cut the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and we've got ghost guns that come in from Indiana, come in from other neighboring states. In the city of Chicago, there's not one gun shop, there's not one gun range, there's not one African American that sells ammunition anywhere in the United States.
Stop right there, Congressman Jackson. You just peddled a flat-out lie. There are dozens of gun shops and ranges in your own district. Your claim of not one is pure fiction. And now you say there's not a single African American who sells ammunition anywhere in the United States? That's not just false. It erases black-owned businesses like On Point Arms, Red Clay Tactical, and Prime Protection STL. If you're going to talk law and order, start with the facts, because this guy is such a liar. Now, let's see how they spin the next chapter of this fiction.
Well, because we were talking right before we came to this segment about how when we talk about the gun violence that the city of Chicago has seen, some of that happens literally close to home. I mean, in your district. So what are your constituents saying about this issue of crime prevention and what actually might help?
Well, no one wants to see bayonets on the streets of America. When I saw those long armed rifles here in Washington, D.C., it made my heart skip a beat. These officers and these great soldiers, they are trained to defend. They're trained to shoot and kill. They're not trained to deal with civic matters amongst individual constituents. That's what happens at the local order. If the president wants to be helpful, he should ask the governor and the mayor how he can best help. One way you can do it is to release,
what would be the ways to do it?
Well, reducing they've cut back on the money for anti-violence prevention. There were grant programs that were in there. They were working. We respect the police in our city and the troopers in our state. Why don't you talk to them? Why don't you have a summit, convene all the necessary parties? We all have the same goal in mind. I believe so, and that's to reduce violence. But this seems to be a campaign of fear.
Stop right there, Congressman Jackson. You painted American troops as bayonet-wielding monsters in our streets. The last time fixed bayonets marched on U.S. soil was 1932 during the Bonus Army eviction. Since then, those bayonets have sat locked in armories. And you warn these great soldiers are only trained to shoot and kill, not handle civic matters? It's your alarmist rhetoric, not President Trump's, that's stoking a campaign of fear. If you really want to reduce violence, back proven solutions, fund community policing, expand mental health services, reform our justice system, and roll back cashless bail policies that let violent criminals walk right back onto our streets. Stop brandishing outdated scare tactics and start talking facts.
What's happening now is unprecedented. He is trampling the Constitution. He's overreaching his authority. And all presidents have had the challenge of the restraint of power. How do you protect the nation, yet also let people have liberty? This Chicago copolis, or whatever he's calling it, he comes from a very, very dark place. Now he's basically calling the American cities the enemy. He's saying that Chicago represents American carnage. Like, what is wrong with this person? We've got millions of tourists that come. There are 77 communities in the city of Chicago. 22 communities have the highest level of violence. Most of the communities in the city of Chicago have no gun violence. And so to paint the whole city is absolutely incredible, and it's wrong.
Congressman, I really appreciate you coming in, giving us sort of the grounds view of what you're hearing from your constituents and in your community. We'll, of course, continue to keep a close watch on what's happening in Chicago. Democratic Congressman Jonathan Jackson of Illinois, thank you for coming on.
We've examined the lies and falsehoods this congressman has peddled unchecked. Now let's expose the spin and deflection. Trump isn't calling American cities the enemy. He's calling out the criminals in Chicago. He's highlighting shocking violent crime and declaring war on it. Let's be clear, only 22 of Chicago's 77 neighborhoods shoulder the lion's share of gun violence. And you dismiss that as incredible? Congressman Jackson and Mayor Johnson have each held office for over 2 years. Governor Pritzker for 6 years. Before Trump was even sworn in for his second term. And crime has soared on their watch. Now they point fingers at President Trump, claiming he's not doing enough, while demonizing him for wanting to deploy the National Guard and ICE to make Chicago safer for all the people they claim to serve. If they truly cared, they wouldn't stoke fear by painting federal help as dangerous. The truth is, they're terrified that a Trump-backed drop in crime will ruin their political narratives, even if it means safer streets for their constituents. Their blame game is pure deflection for their own failures. If they really believed in law and order, they'd fix the broken bail system, lock up repeat violent offenders, and act, rather than turning every tragedy into political theater. Enough talk. Action saves lives. You've been watching Signal of the Republic. If you found today's deep dive helpful, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss our fact-driven analysis. Share this video with friends who value truth over spin. Every share strengthens our signal. Drop a comment below with your takeaways. We read every response and use your feedback to sharpen our next episode. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and until next time, keep the signal loud. This is Signal of the Republic signing off.